so right now I'm just jumping right into the video. I'm using the MAC eyebrow pencil in Spiked to do her eyebrows. Right now I'm just brushing them up just so I can kind of get a feel of where her eyebrow arch is. Don't mind my nails, guys. I just finished taking them off like the other day, and then I had some polish on them, and then I was trying to wipe the polish off, so they kind of look a mess by now. So that's not the point though. Let's just focus on the makeup. I'm just creating little hairs in the front and just kind of filling in the brow. Now I'm just brushing it down to do the same thing for the top part of her eyebrow. This isn't really the eyebrow pencil that I wanted to use, but I couldn't find the one from P. Louise brand. That's actually my favorite one as of now, and I had to just stick with this one. So you will notice that her other eyebrow that I do is kind of a little off, and so don't worry too much about that either. Alright, so I'm just kind of blending in her hairs on the eyebrow just to make sure everything is nicely blended. I do take a little minute on the brows. And I'm not gonna do her other brow on camera. I didn't really feel like it was a point to it if you already see one. Plus the other one, like I said, I didn't really like how it came out, so no need to record that part. Alright, so next I'm taking a P. Louise brush. This is from one of her base kits. And I am taking the LA Girl Pro Concealer in the shade Almond and Warm Honey. I initially liked it on her, but then it turns out I didn't really like it for her because to me it was a little too close to her skin tone. So as you see later in the video, I do end up, it becomes a little lighter, and that's because I blended it with the P. Louise Rumor Base Shade in 3. Alright, so I know you're like, why in the world does she have a line in between her brows? I do that just so I can make sure that the brows are like, you know, sisters. They're not cousins. Alright, and now I'm just lining the top of her brow, doing the same thing pretty much, just cleaning them up to give them that nice sharp look. It's really good to use like a flat brush when doing this. And now I'm just blending it out in a patting motion. And that brush that I'm using is by Morphe. I don't remember the number of it, and honestly I've been sleeping on this brush because I totally forgot it was in my kit, and I'm using it to blend out the edges from where I cleaned up her brow. So I did the same thing with the other brow. Again, I told you that other brow was bothering me. So you're gonna notice that I'm constantly going back and forth with it in the video, because as you can see towards the beginning, it's just like that spike pencil was not dark enough for that part, for her brow part. So yeah, it was really bothering me. Alright, now again I'm going in with the P. Louise Rumor Base in 3. I'm applying that also on her eyelids, using that as an eyeshadow base. I really love these bases because they really do bring out the color of the eyeshadows, and it also holds the eyeshadow in place. And I'm just applying it with a patting motion on her eyelid. I don't set these with a powder. It's really no point in doing that to me. I feel like when you do that, it takes away the intensity of the product. So I've completed both eyes, going back in with that same Morphe brush. If I find the number, I'll put it in the link below. If you don't see it in the description box below, then you'll know that I couldn't find it. So now I'm going in with a 350, nope, that is the 3503, I think, palette, or I don't know if it's 353 palette. It's by Morphe. I really like this palette, and I'm using that for her eyes. Going in with that shade. I just pack on the color first before I go out to blend it. So I just want to freeze right here. My camera had died and I had no idea that it died and that it overheated. So I apologize that I was not able to get the color that I blended it out with or show you how I cut the crease. It was just like, at this point, I was not going to re-record this because it's the second time already and I really want to get it out. So as you can see, I made a little bit of a mistake on her eyebrow right here, so I'm just kind of going into fixing that. And again, I am using a flat brush to do so, a small flat brush. So I had noticed the little shape that I was creating. It's funny because sometimes I don't plan on doing any of those things and then it just happens. But then I never can get both eyes to really match how they are. So I end up not really doing that shape. And just for time's sake of the video, I was not about to keep wasting time to figure both shapes out. So next, I'm going with that brown shade, that same brown shade that I had applied in her crease. Just applying that to there. All right, and then I'm going in with the color that I had blended her shade out with, the brown shade out with. That's the color I'm applying right there. I thought I was going somewhere with this, but then I didn't really like how it turned out, so honestly this step is probably unnecessary. Again, it was like I was really scared that my camera might overheat. Like, I'm still figuring it out and things, so I wasn't able to get as creative as I really wanted to, but I'll save that for another video now that I've kind of learned a little bit more about my camera. I'm going back in with that same brown shade that I had used. Actually, I'm going in with the orange shade that I used. I'm just cleaning up that part again, kind of adding that little tail to the end. Next here, I'm going with the Mario Badescu spray. I absolutely love this spray. You can use it as a facial setting spray, or just like if you just wash your face and everything and you kind of want that mist or whatever on your face, is really good for that. I had sprayed the brush with that just so that the shadow could come out really pigmented, the glitter shadow that was in that same Morphe palette that I showed, so it could really show up on the eyelid. Even though the base is going to do that on itself, it really pops out the glitters in the shadow. So I'm going back in with that brown shade. Again, I told you I didn't really care for the orange being right there, so I just went back in with the brown. There. Now I'm going in with the Benefit They're Real mascara. Honestly, this hands down to me is the best mascara on the market. I don't think I will buy any other mascara. I have it at a long time, ever since I found out about it some years ago, and I've honestly, this has been honestly the only mascara that I have been using. Next, I'm going to just apply some lashes. These were by, I think, Cherry Blossom. They're in the beauty supply store. Some cheap lashes. And I'm applying that with Duo Lash Glue. Alright, so next I'm going with the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. I absolutely love this primer. So once this little sample tube is done, I'm actually going to go and buy the bigger bottle because this primer really, really is good. Alright. And so next I mixed the LA Girl Pro Concealer in orange and the LA Pro Concealer in yellow and made that nice peachy color to blend out the darkness underneath her eyes. And I'm just blending it out with a damp beauty blender. Also, if you can see like on the side of her eyes how it's kind of sharp, I use tape. So if you put tape there, that'll kind of really create that sharp look. Here I'm going in with the P. Louise Brow Gel. And I think the shade is pronounced Macchiano or Macchiana, something like that. And I told you that brow was bothering me, so I'm going back in with that again. I'm just going back in with that spoolie at the end of the brush to get everything blended out. All right, now I'm going in with the Fenty Beauty. This is the hydration one, I believe, the dewy one. And her shade is 345. So that's the shade I am using for her. Now this foundation is good and I honestly have it for myself, but my skin is oily, so I don't really recommend it for someone who has oily skin because it definitely is a dewy foundation. And I'm just blending that out with this Sigma brush. I don't remember the name of this brush either. I literally have had this brush for about 5 years now, maybe 6. And I'm just going in with a beauty blender to really just make sure everything is blended out everywhere. I know it looks like I'm just pounding on her face, but I'm not. It's just the way the speed is in the video. So I typically apply the foundation first, and then I do go behind it with the beauty blender because I like to really make sure everything is blended out. And this foundation shade was perfect for her. Next, I'm going with this Morphe Continuous Setting Spray. This is my first time using this spray, and I had sprayed the brush, the beauty blender with it, just to really make sure everything is really good and everything and set in stone. I actually really like the spray. It's not bad at all. I'm telling you, I like to make sure it's blended. Now I'm going back in with the Warm Honey concealer, and I mixed it a little bit with Fawn. Just highlighting underneath the eyes. Then I'm gonna highlight her mouth part, the nose, her forehead. And now I'm gonna go ahead and blend everything out. I sprayed the thing again and sprayed her face just to really, when I blend it out, it just really helps that part. Now I'm going in with it's a contour foundation. It's not a contour stick, it's a foundation stick by Sephora. It is in the shade Mahogany. This is more of my shade, but I couldn't find the exact shade for her, so that's why I try not to apply it so heavily on her. But because I knew I was gonna, the bronzer shade that I had was perfect for her, I didn't worry about it too much. I'm just going to blend this out with my Real Techniques brush. And I tried to blend it out really good, meaning that I know that it wasn't the exact contour shade that I did. The reason you contour is pretty much it gives the face back color and dimension. If you did it and you did the highlight without contouring, your face just is gonna look like, where is the dimension on your face? And then I kind of squeeze the end of the brush together so I can go down her nose. I could have used a smaller brush, but again, for the sake of time for the video, I didn't feel like trying to look for the exact one that I wanted, so. So next I'm going back into that Morphe palette, and I'm taking those same two shades that I used for her eyebrows, so that brown shade and that orangey looking shade, and I'm lining her waterline. I'm using the darker shade first, and then I'm gonna go underneath that with the lighter shade. I think these colors look so pretty for her eye shape, her skin tone. It just really goes well with her. Next, I'm using the Laura Mercier translucent powder. I think I said that right. And I'm gonna set every spot that I highlighted. That's the part that I'm setting. I'm not one to put powder on the entire face. That's just not my thing. So that's why I only set powder on the highlighted parts. And then I just spray my face with a setting spray at the end. I know I didn't line the other side perfectly, so my bad, skis. Next, I'm going with the Sacha Buttercup setting powder. I've literally had this setting powder since 2015. I do not use it often at all, as you can tell. Ever since I discovered the Laura Mercier powder, I kind of have put that to the side because I like the fact that it's a little more translucent. But for the sake of this video, I like how it looks for her skin tone, so that's why I applied it. And yeah, we don't know what's going on here. She was going down. Alright, so next I'm just going to take a big brush, this fluffy brush, and I'm going to blend out or wipe away all of the excess powder. I let the powder sit on her face for about maybe 5 minutes. So I really want it to set in. And I do that for me sometimes because I have oily skin, so it really helps keep my makeup in place. You don't have to set it that long though. Alright, and next I'm just going back into that Morphe palette once again, and I'm going in with a goldy kind of shade, and I'm adding that to her inner tear ducts, or her tear ducts. Now I'm going in with Black Radiance True Complexion Contour Palette. I so love this palette. I really do. And it's not even expensive. You can find it at, I think, any drugstore, honestly. But I love this palette. It's perfect for her shade, but then they also have one for deeper brown skin girls like me. That's really great. I just can't find the one that I have for myself. I'm just blending all of that out. Again, just adding some color and warmth back to her face. Going down the bridges of her nose. Now I'm going back in with that same mascara, the Real Mascara by Benefit, and I'm just coating her bottom lashes. And now I'm going to line her lips with the Chestnut Lip Liner by MAC. This is one of my favorite lip liners. As you can see, hers is about gone, but that's okay. We were able to work with it. Nothing a good pencil sharpener couldn't do. I don't know what that little clip was about. And next I'm going in with the P. Louise base. It was from her new Dish in the Dirt collection. It was the lightest pink that they have, and I put that on her lips. I know it looks a little crazy right now and it looks a little bright, but don't worry, because once I pop that lip gloss on it, it's gonna be all good. Here I go in with the lip gloss, I believe now. The lip gloss kind of tones it down a little bit. And I'm just kind of cleaning up around the edges a little bit there. Now I'm going in with that same eyeshadow palette. I love a good blush, but I love using eyeshadow palettes sometimes for blushes because you can find like some of the prettiest like shades to apply as a blush. And don't worry, I know it looks heavily like it's applied so heavy on her face, but I'm actually gonna go in with another brush to blend it out. Now I'm going back in with spraying her entire face. This blends everything together, makes it look super pretty. And I love doing that and immediately applying the highlight. And the highlight that I'm using is Artist Couture, and I believe it is in the shade Conceited. This brand has one of my top favorite highlights. Honestly, this is probably the only highlight that I use. I think this is my go-to. Do y'all see that though? That highlight? That highlight really would make you feel conceited. Make you feeling yourself. And I'm just going down the bridge of her nose. And her chin a little bit there. And just highlighting pretty much places where you know if you turn away where the sun would hit. Alright, right, and we're done.
Oh my gosh.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on this video.